The film opens with a scenic view of a small town where Thanksgiving is being celebrated with joy and excitement. The streets are alive with laughter, families gathered together, and the festive spirit in the air. During this time, the town's sheriff arrives at his old friend's house. He greets her and her husband, bringing along a thoughtful gift that she immediately loves. She warmly invites him inside to join them for Thanksgiving dinner. Her husband, however, manages a large department store. Just then, his boss, the owner of the store, calls him in to work. The whole family is upset, frustrated that he's being forced to work on a holiday. The focus then shifts to the store owner, a powerful and greedy businessman. On Thanksgiving, he has announced a massive discount sale at his store. Outside, long lines of shoppers stretch down the street, everyone waiting impatiently for the doors to open. Meanwhile, the owner sits comfortably in his lavish home, enjoying a rich Thanksgiving meal with his daughter Jessica and her friends. Soon, Jessica's friends arrive to pick her up. She leaves with her friend Bobby, and they decide to swing by the store to check out the chaos. At the store, Jessica runs into a college classmate who has a crush on her. Because she's the owner's daughter, Jessica and her friends are let inside without waiting. The crowd outside sees this and explodes with anger. A furious young man and woman push past the barricades, breaking open the gate, and suddenly, the entire crowd surges into the store. Chaos erupts instantly. People grab merchandise as if it's free, trampling over anyone in their way. In the frenzy, several shoppers are crushed to death. No one cares who's alive or who's dying. Everyone is blinded by greed. In the madness, the sheriff's friend is shoved to the ground. She falls head first, her skull split open, and she dies on the spot. When Bobby tries to help an injured man, someone stomps on his hand, snapping his bracelet and leaving him injured. The story jumps forward 1 year. Thanksgiving has come around again, but the town is haunted by what happened last year. People whisper in fear that if Jessica's father announces another big sale, history could repeat itself. Last year's tragedy had gone viral online. Jessica's friend had uploaded a video of the stampede, and it spread everywhere. But Jessica's father doesn't care. Once again, he announces another huge Thanksgiving sale. Jessica is furious. She had seen people die with her own eyes, and she begs him not to make the same mistake again. Meanwhile, the woman who caused a scene during last year's chaos is now working as a waitress. The sheriff visits her, mentioning that a new deputy will be arriving soon. When the deputy arrives, he notices an old mask. The waitress explains that it belonged to the town's first governor, John, a kind man remembered fondly by the community. On Thanksgiving, townsfolk sometimes wear this mask in his honor. Later, Jessica and her friends get a strange notification on their phones. It's from someone calling themselves John. The message shows a picture of a dinner table with all of their names written on it. They laugh it off as a prank, until Jessica notices something terrifying outside her window. A man wearing the governor's mask, staring right at her. In the blink of an eye, he's gone. That night, as the waitress closes up the store, she finds John's mask lying on the floor. Before she can process it, the masked killer attacks, slamming her face against a refrigerator. He grabs an axe, but she manages to slip away, hiding in a dumpster. The killer finds her, runs her over with his car, and tears her body in half. Later, he hangs her remains on the roof of the store to terrify the town. When police investigate, they hit a dead end. Nearly everyone in town wears John's mask on Thanksgiving, making it impossible to identify the killer. Frightened, Jessica calls her dad. "Dad, you can't open the store. Someone's already been killed." But her father coldly replies, "Don't worry, I'll get extra security. The store will open no matter what." Jessica and her friends panic. Soon after, they meet a shady weapons dealer offering them guns for protection. They go to the police station and tell the sheriff their theory. The killer is targeting people connected to last year's stampede. The sheriff says, "If that's true, we need to look at the footage from that day. Your father must have it. That's the only way we can figure out who's in danger." Jessica agrees to help. As she leaves, Bobby warns her, "Our lives are all in danger. We need to stick together. Otherwise, he'll pick us off one by one." That night, the killer hunts down the security guard who abandoned his post during last year's chaos. Using a wire, he gruesomely decapitates him and takes the severed head away in a bag. The next morning, Jessica and her friends receive another notification from John. This time, it's a picture of the guard's severed head on the same dinner table, their names written in blood around it. Terrified, they realize the killer is coming for them. Jessica secretly sends the sheriff her father's laptop footage. He studies it carefully, trying to identify potential victims. In one clip, he notices one of Jessica's friends hugging the guard who was just killed, confirming that her life is at risk too. Meanwhile, the killer strikes again. He murders a gym trainer who was present during the stampede, snapping his neck in an instant. Then, he turns to the trainer's girlfriend, a cheerleader bouncing on a trampoline. As she leaps into the air, the killer stabs her from below, splitting her body in two. The college immediately shuts down the campus in fear. Still, 2 of Jessica's friends are ordered to stay behind. When they're alone, the killer kidnaps them. He then sets his sights on Jessica. She narrowly escapes, hiding in a makeup room. The killer finds her, but she sprays him in the face and bolts out the door. Hearing her screams, the police arrive just in time and pull her to safety. After the incident, one of Bobby and Jessica's classmates comes to check on her, since word had spread that the killer had tried to attack her. But instead of comfort, the visit spirals into a heated argument. Crying in a corner, Jessica shouts, "Both of you, just stay away from me." Meanwhile, one of Jessica's friends, scared for his own life, secretly visits a gun dealer to buy a weapon. That same night, the killer breaks into her friend's house. He murders the security guard, then brutally guns down her father. Now, Jessica's friend is the only one left alive inside. Panicked, she video calls Jessica and asks, "Are you okay?" Jessica replies, "Yes, I'm fine. Don't worry about me." But during the call, the killer silently creeps up behind her and drives a sharp nail into her ear. She screams in agony, blood pouring as she tries to run. On the screen, Jessica watches in horror, helpless, while her friend writhes in pain. Desperate, she rushes to her house. By the time she arrives, the killer is already there. He presses a knife to her friend's throat and, laughing, streams it live to the rest of their group. "Look," he taunts, "your friend is in my hands now." Then, with a sudden shove, he forces her onto a blade. In one horrific instant, her body splits in two. She dies on the spot. After this nightmare, Jessica's dad decides never to reopen the family mart again. The murders have made it far too dangerous. The sheriff gathers everyone and warns, "We all need to show up at the Thanksgiving festival. There'll be a huge crowd, and the killer will come. In that chaos, we'll have the chance to catch him." Reluctantly, everyone agrees. The next day, the festival is packed, and sure enough, the killer strikes, slashing a man's throat in front of the crowd. Smoke bombs explode everywhere. Panic erupts, people scream, stampede, and scatter. In the chaos, Jessica, her friends, and her parents are knocked out cold and dragged away. When Jessica's mom regains consciousness, she finds herself strapped to a table. Darkness surrounds her, thick with a strange odor. The killer stands nearby, mixing spices. He approaches, rubbing oil across her skin, preparing her body for the sauce he's making. His intention is clear. He plans to roast her alive. As he turns to grab another mask, Jessica's mom musters her strength, breaks free, and makes a run for it. But when he returns and finds the table empty, rage consumes him. Fork in hand, he scours the room. Terrified, she hides inside a freezer, only to come face to face with a frozen cheerleader's corpse. She gasps, trembling. Before she can escape, the killer finds her, stabs her repeatedly with the fork, and drags her to the oven. He cranks the heat and shoves her inside. Her screams echo until they fade as she burns alive in unbearable agony. Afterward, the killer begins a live stream. He shows Jessica and the others tied up at a long dining table. Police trace the feed, but when they arrive, the place is empty. The killer had set them up, playing his sick game. Moments later, he streams again, this time serving food to Jessica and the others. When he lifts the tray, they recoil in horror. It's not food, it's Jessica's mom's roasted body. Their screams fill the air. "The sales, the giveaways, that was your mom's idea," he sneers. "So I roasted her, and now you're going to eat her." In that instant, Jessica secretly frees her restraints. One of her friends breaks loose too. They bolt for an escape, but the killer chases them. He slashes Jessica's friend, leaving him gravely wounded, then lunges for Jessica. But she slips past the barricade and flees. Running ahead, Jessica stumbles upon the sheriff lying unconscious. Inside a nearby building, she sees Bobby pulling off John's mask. Her blood runs cold. The killer was Bobby all along. When the sheriff regains consciousness, Jessica tells him everything. He immediately fires at Bobby, who bolts into the distance. Police pursue him while survivors are rushed to safety. Later, the sheriff tells Jessica, "I couldn't save your mom or your friend, but your dad and the others are at the hospital." That's when Jessica notices something. Mud on the sheriff's boots, the same kind she saw in the forest. Her heart sinks. Bobby wasn't the real killer. The sheriff was. Realizing she knows the truth, the sheriff calmly mutters, "You never should have gone into the forest alone." He locks the door and advances on her. Shaking, Jessica whispers, "Why? Why did you do this?" His voice turns cold. I've been alone my whole life. Once I found hope. A woman I loved. Someone who promised to marry me. But during the chaos at your dad's sale, she fell and died. I was alone again. That's when I swore I'd make them all pay. To keep suspicion off me, I put on John's mask and started killing. Jessica smirks, lifts her phone and says, "Perfect, because I just streamed your entire confession live." Fury flashes in his eyes. The sheriff lunges, but Bobby bursts in and pulls Jessica away. They escape in a truck. Out in a deserted field, Jessica inflates a giant gas balloon. But the sheriff appears again. Without hesitation, she fires at the balloon. The explosion erupts into a firestorm, engulfing the sheriff. Jessica and Bobby watch as he's consumed in flames. Police arrive, firefighters extinguish the blaze. Nothing is found but ashes. No one knows if the sheriff truly died or survived. That night, Jessica dreams the sheriff is hiding in her closet. Heart pounding, she opens the door. Empty. But the truth is far worse. After the fire, one firefighter quietly walked away, and under the helmet was the sheriff. The story ends there, on a chilling note, leaving Jessica haunted for the rest of her life.